Welcome to Uncontained, episode 148. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and welcome back from the holidays. Yes, hope everybody had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday it was that you were celebrating, and a great new year. And to kick off the new year, I got a great episode for you. It is comedian Kabir Singh. You may know him from his show Outsourced Comedy. He was on Gabriel Iglesias's Stand Up Revolution back in season 3. And he's even had his voice on The Family Guy. And we definitely talk about that during this episode. Yeah, he's got some really cool things coming up as well, including a new show called Side Hustle on Netflix in the near future. To set the tone and location for this interview, I met up with Kabir at Cobb's Comedy Club before one of his shows. We sat up and talked in the green room, and I really think you'll enjoy this conversation. He's got some great stories and some great advice. So plug in your earbuds, because this is how Kabir Singh lives uncontained.
And doing a little Instagram live here. We'll be cutting in and out throughout this interview. I'm here with legendary Bay Area comic.
Nice.
Is that too much to say?
I like that.
All right, you like that? We'll go with legendary Bay Area comic Kabir Singh, or Kabizi, right?
Yeah, it's Kabir Singh now, but Kabizi's great though. I don't hate on that.
All right, is that an old nickname?
It's weird. Like I got the Kabizi nickname came from high school because I played basketball and everybody called me Kabizi. But yeah, stand up when I first started, it was Kabir Kabizi Singh. We're still using it.
Yeah, anything to help set you apart. I'm still using an old nickname of mine from my radio days, which is Static, because it makes you more Googleable. We'll just go with that.
I love it.
So you have some serious credentials going on. You've been a part of Family Guy. You are on Iglesias' new show, Comic Gabriel. Not season 3. I don't know why I was thinking Enrique. Maybe he just can't get out of my mind. Now that he has that mole gone.
Yeah.
But the Comic Revolution. So now, how long have you been doing stand-up to get into some of these accolades?
Yeah, so I've been doing stand-up comedy professionally for about 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 8 years, and then that's been great, though. Every year has been more and more fun. It's been great. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So, and the Bay Area is where you got your start. It's actually where I saw you the first time, too. I saw you back probably about, 4 years ago?
Right.
Or something with, it was a show in San Leandro. It was supposed to be, pretty much an all-Indian stand-up show, and Cody Woods was on that show.
Yep.
And that was my first introduction into the Bay Area comedy scene right there. So, no.
Yeah, Cody Woods is a homie. He's one of my favorite comics. We both, one of the first times I ever did a stand-up comedy show, I did an open mic at the San Jose Improv in 2010, and Cody Woods was actually one of the comics on it. And he was way younger than me, and I did my set, and I did okay, did all right. It was my 5th time on stage. And then Cody came up and gave me advice. I was like, why the fuck is this 8-year-old telling me what the fuck to do? But
he looks young now.
Yeah, he still looks 8. I was every time I see him, I'm like, what the fuck? But Cody's a homie, and he was. That was actually the first time I ever met Cody. Was the San Jose Improv that night.
Oh,
and
really?
He gave me a lot of great advice. Yeah, really funny dude.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, he's been on the show twice. So
great guy. Yeah.
He's been here in the early days, and also after the show had its 100th episode. So that's really cool. Nice. That stuck with it. Now, okay, when you did the Family Guy, what was that like? Did you get to meet Seth MacFarlane? Or
it was a little interesting. So I did voiceover work basically. So everything was through a screen. So I never really got to kick it with those guys or anything like that. But it was voiceover work and a couple treatments I sent to them, which was used eventually. So it was kind of cool. Yeah,
very cool. So, which episodes were you in?
Well, the main one was that one, the season finale of 3 years ago, which was Road to India.
Yes.
Which was a really fun episode. Yeah, that was cool.
When I saw that you were a part of that one, I actually had seen that one before. I was like, oh man, where was he? Where was he in this? Where was he? So, what for people who are listening now? What was your role in that?
It was the Indian voices over there where they were talking about the director that was coming to India and doing all that garbage. Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. Do you have any more voice acting aspirations in the future?
I think that was a one-off. I think that generally right now I'm just kind of focusing on just stand-up and, acting and stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. You mentioned acting. What do you have with acting going on?
Well, I just shot a pilot recently called Side Hustle, where I go meet other comedians that are doing stand-up that have a side job, like an actual job to support them. So the whole theory of the show is that I go meet the guy, and then we go to his work, and then I do it with him, and then try to figure out. So the pilot episode is a comedian named Jay Rich from Oakland.
Okay.
Really funny dude. He's a barber in Oakland.
Yes.
So he had to take me to this barber shop in Oakland, just ghetto as shit. And then he was just telling me, he's like, all right, well, he was trying to teach me how to do like a fade on this dude. Like, this is how you cut hair. And then he taught me as well as he could, but then he gave me the, just like, he gave me the rein to do it. And it was terrible. I did a terrible job. But I think that was really the fun part of the show, because basically I just get to go meet these guys that has a job. I go do it with them, and then we showcase them for 15 minutes of stand-up.
Okay.
So it's like a 28-minute show.
Okay, so yeah, I actually had Sam Marcoux on my show, and he was like talking a little bit about this concept. And the main concept of it, is it true that you haven't had a side job, or your whole career has just been stand-up? You haven't had to do the whole hair cutting or gas station attendant or something like that? Yeah.
So I actually never had when I was in high school, I was a telemarketer for a little bit. I like dabbled, but after high school, I was in college, and then I just fell in love with stand-up, and then I just went on with that.
Really?
No, go
ahead.
I made like $8 the first 4 years, but but after that, if you just kind of build, and then you can eventually make a living on this if you collect a couple TV credits and just be good. So so never really had to I was trying to perfect the art of stand-up, or trying to do really good at it, rather than do it like a side job, because I really didn't need to get a job, because I was just living at my mom's place and shit like that.
Okay,
so
I was going to ask, how did you manage to do that after college, making like $8 in the first year?
Yeah, no, I was just grinding, and I was at my mom's apartment in Fremont for the first 3-4 years. And when I started making money, then, after that I was able to, move to LA and stuff like that and get my shit together, yeah.
So what was the turning point?
Stand-Up Revolution, Gabriel Iglesias, Comedy Central. That I was already somewhat headlining, so it was 3 years in, and in my fourth year, I was already headlining off nights, doing pretty good, 45 minutes, doing well.
Yeah.
And then I did a show at the Magic and Comedy Club over in Hermosa Beach, and Gabriel Iglesias was there. Saw me, I did really well, and then he immediately put me on his Stand-Up Revolution, which was running on Comedy Central, which was season 3. The first comic season premiere. I was on all the commercials, and then right after that, got a good agent, got a good manager, and I was able to headline from there. And all right.
Okay, all right, very cool, man. So, with the path that you've taken, only being able to do stand-up and getting into doing this new project, trying to bring it back to that, talk a little bit more about it. Do you actually, in some weird way, miss not of having had a side job?
No.
All right, I was just wondering if there was some sick, twisted side to you.
My girlfriend's got a side job. I got friends that, even other comedians that, my feature and host, wherever where I tour, I bring the same 4 or 5 people, and all of them have regular jobs, and it just sounds terrible.
I can second that right there.
I could genuinely tell you the reason why I do stand-up comedy, so I don't have to wake up early or just do shit, It's it's crazy.
So what's a day in the life of Kabir like?
It just depends. If I'm on the road, I'll generally just if I'm touring, like I was just in Canada for a month and a half. It was great. You just wake up, hang out, eat, and then I try to write maybe 45 minutes a day.
Okay.
Figure it out. Try to get your 45 minutes. It just depends what show you have. If you're headlining a weekend at a comedy club, then you could be a little bit more liberal with your material. You could kind of work on other stuff. But when you're doing a tour in another country where it's theaters and stuff like that, people have seen your stuff on Canadian TV. That's when you have to kind of figure out okay, what kind of new dynamic we're going to use in my set, what kind of jokes that I just wrote recently to bang it out. So a lot of it is going to be just kind of preparing for the show. and trying to get as much rest as possible. And also enjoying the city that you're in because you get to travel. That's one of the bonuses.
Yeah.
Of being, you get to go everywhere. And, you try to, hang out in that city, just see a little bit of it, take a day out for that. But the rest of it is just preparing for the shows.
Okay, cool. Right now we're here in San Francisco at Cobb's Comedy Club. You're actually getting ready to go up on stage a little bit later. But no offense to any of the other locations, but what would be one of your favorite spots that you've got to travel to and do comedy?
Favorite spot to do stand-up. Recently, I got to be honest with you, I think I just headlined the Philly Punchline last month, which was, I guess, what was it? I guess it was October or November. That was my favorite spot. It was great. We sold out a show on a Saturday. It was great. And then we got to hang out in Philly for 2 days. It was great. Great food. Got to hang out and stuff like that. Yeah.
Was Philly a rowdy crowd? Like, was it like after the Super Bowl? Like, did they run through like tearing down like
No. It was just a really
comedy.
Yeah. Luckily, it was on and off season for them, but like this season. But
yeah.
No, it was great. We just we did a great show. We got to eat great food. Got to go. See all of the history of Philly and the history of America, which that was a really fun event. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of history there, man. A lot of history in Philly. Actually, on I think it was one of Anthony Bourdain's shows. Like I learned something from the Philly episode on what where the term beaver came for, referring to a woman's private parts.
Yeah.
It was, they made merkins out of beaver pelts.
Jeez.
Like, basically vagina toothpaste.
That was a great show, by the way. Anthony Bourdain.
It was. I miss that dude. He was, like, so relatable. He was, like, real. Like, Guy Fieri or whatever. He's just, like, a character. But
what was that guy going through? Jesus.
Dude, I don't know. He's still going through it, I think. Some dives and diners and coke. Lots of it, man. Lots of it. But I don't know. Anthony Bourdain, I don't know about you, but he was like the only food guy that I'd be like, I want to go get a drink with that guy and just hear what he has to say.
Right, yeah.
So what's next for you? What's your aspirations coming up here? I know you're focusing on stand-up comedy, but what's coming up?
So next year I'm going to be doing a couple things. Side Hustle #1 is going to air on something, hopefully Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And then I'm taping for 3 different networks next year. So really that and touring, I mean, is just basically getting as many dates as you can and getting on TV as much as possible. But yeah, I got like a couple things going on that I can't really like expose. But like, there's
damn non-disclosure agreements.
Well, I don't think even inside that. I think they just told me to shut the fuck up. Like, listen, none of this is for 100% yet. Don't talk about it. But
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so there's like 3 or 4 things that I'm working on right now. But side hustle for sure. Outsourced comedy tour, which I've been doing for about 5 or 6 years. We're going to be taping a special for that, which will again hopefully air on one of the networks. We're doing that in April in Los Angeles. Okay. Other than that, just basically just going back to LA January, February, March, hitting up pilot season and just trying to get some good stuff. Yeah.
Very cool, man. So I know you have to go get on stage here before too long. So I'm going to move this interview along here and jump to my questions here. So real quick for the people on my Instagram, what is your Instagram handle?
Mine is Kabir Comic.
Kabir Comic. All right. So check him out on his
Very
Instagram.
hacky. I didn't pick the name, by the way.
Add him, follow him, and don't make fun of the name that he doesn't
don't
like.
Do it. It already hurts me.
He's a comic. He'll put you in your place. I'll tell you that shit. All right. Might turn this back on a little bit later, but thank you for tuning in here on Instagram. Check out the podcast as it comes out. I'll keep you posted on when that's going to happen too, but we're going to move on. All right. So I have the second part of the show, as I said, is kind of designed to help comics or people in the entertainment industry. So what advice would you give to a comic that is like working on getting started out and maybe trying to take that first or that next step?
Yeah, first step would be, it's actually quite simple. Your first step, you really should focus on getting a very tight, very good 6 minutes.
Okay.
You just got to go up there and hit up as many mics as you can. Come up with a couple ideas, a couple punchlines, a couple jokes that where you could actually just do 6 minutes of where people could, laugh and have a good time with.
Okay.
But I also don't think there's a lot of comics that will come up with the first 6 minutes and then try to work on their 30 or 25 early,
Yeah.
which I think is a terrible idea. You really want to perfect your 6 minutes by hitting up all the open mics, all the stage time you can do wherever you are. Repeat the same 6, get it together, get it tight. And then, just go out there, try to get booked on some shows, and then you can work on your material later, yeah. But work hard, hit up as many mics as you can, and take feedback from your friends, I think the best feedback is from your friends. You don't get a lot of great feedback from strangers that you never met in an audience, They don't know you. So, like, if you bring your friends, mostly audiences will actually be pretty polite to you afterwards, too.
Yeah,
you
were funny, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to really go, unless they're extremely drunk, stand up and be like, you suck!
Yeah.
But if they're going to do that, they'll do that during the show.
Even after the show, even if you bomb, they'll be like, you did great, good work. I'm like, but just, bring a couple of your friends that watch them do your set, and just develop, Stage time is important. Get as much, despite the quality of stage time, which you're going to get in the beginning, just get as much of that as possible.
So, like, say you have that 6 minutes tight. Like, what's the next step from there? Like, what's to getting a booked spot on a show from an open mic? How do you make that transition?
It's just difficult to, it's difficult to say because every comedy club has their own rules and stuff like that. Yeah. The way I got into it, really, just to get my first piece of work, was in the Bay Area when probably did the same thing. Got my 11 or 12 minutes good together. I did Rooster Teeth Feathers comedy competitions at these comedy clubs are actually a really good way to get exposed by the people that book it. Whether if you win or not, they at least get to see you and other of your peers see you, and then you could get kind of booked on their shows. But for me, I did Roosters about like a year and a month in. Went there, did really well. I was ready to go. I practiced for like 8 months straight. Had that, I repeated that 8 to 12 minutes repeatedly. Yeah. It was solid. Ended up winning that, and then I got my first week at Rooster Teeth Feathers. And then after that, you just kind of build upon that. Then you email Improv or, any other clubs in the area and be like, I'm passed over here. What does it take to get passed over there? They'll tell you what to do. Sometimes it's easy. They're just like, hey, come drop a set on this Thursday show. We'll check you out. But it just varies. You just have to. The main thing is you have to have 8 to 12 minutes of kill before people watch you. And then when you get that opportunity, you just shell it out. Get good at that, and then work on contacting other clubs and figuring it out.
All right, very cool. That's some really good advice right there, man. Yeah. And speaking of comedy competitions, I saw something that was kind of impressive that you accomplished. It was like you were the first person to win like the San Francisco comedy competition like 2 times in a row.
No,
it's the all 5 of them, right?
Yeah, so it's weird because like the San Francisco International Comedy Competition has like 12 rounds.
Okay,
so I was the first one to ever come in first all 12 rounds from round 1, 2, and 3. 12 shows in 3 rounds. So I was the first one to do that, coming first. And then I think Miles Weber, who's another comedian, actually did that like 2 years later. So my record
copying you and shit.
Yeah, it was like 34 years of untapped territory, and I nail it. And this other motherfucker, Miles Weber, fuck you if you're listening to this. And then he breaks the record 2 like years later. I'm like,
Miles Weber, I'll interview you.
Yeah, you should.
If you want to copy Kabir again,
you should
come on the show.
He's one of the funniest comics I know, but especially in the finals. So there's 5 shows in the finals, and it's like implausible for anybody not to come and like to variate. There's 5 comics. And everybody's like murdering it. Okay. So they're coming first all 5 times, which is a feat that him and I did, which was that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And just to see the names that were listed of comics that have competed in it and that haven't done that, like including like Robin Williams, to say one of them.
Also, it's a competition. Like in the 80s, Robin Williams. I mean, like
it's a different year. Of course, you weren't just to clear it up. You weren't competing against Robin Williams,
right?
But just the people who haven't done that in the past. It's pretty.
There was some
cool.
rounds where it was like Sinbad, like Ellen. Like it was just like these Mark Curry. Like it's gonna be tough to beat all 3 of these guys 4 times in a row. So back in the day, the '80s was definitely the prime of that competition. Yeah. But it was still an honor winning that. Yeah.
All right, very cool, man. So. Like, what are you doing right now to promote yourself? Like, to get your name out there to other clubs, other shows, and stuff like that? Like,
I think that I find it really like hard to put that on a comedian to be able to do that as well. Like, if you have a good management, good agency, you have deals with networks and stuff like that. I feel like it's kind of there agenda to be able to, send me somewhere and promote it.
Okay.
I was like, I think it's kind of weird that you put everything on a comic. Like, social media is not my thing. Like, I don't really tweet a lot. And then you got all these other people going viral and stuff like that can't do 8 minutes of stand up. So I think you gotta put walls on that. So for me, the only way that I personally can get more people to come to my shows is by doing a show, killing it, and telling people to come back.
Okay.
That's really all I can do because, at the end of the day, that's basically you just use your strong point and try to get fans off of that. But, promoting yourself, I just do the shows and tell people to come back. And, I think that's other people's job to get you people that have you on their roster and they're booking you other places. It's kind of their job to promote you,
Yeah. Okay, you mentioned having representation in networks promote you and stuff like that. So when should a comic start looking for representation?
Well, if you're from the Bay Area, you should already be past at the Punchline and working the majority of the clubs.
Okay.
I think that the first thing you want to do is get past in your local city, town, doing well.
And for those who are listening that don't know what past means, what does that terminology mean?
So you want to be a working comedian. So there's other Roosters now. You have to win the competition to be passed. Punchline, you have to come every Sunday for about 8 months or some shit like that, and you got to go on stage and do well. You want to get through those hurdles before you start booking showcases in LA, and hopefully somebody will see you. And recommend you it's you don't really want to actively look for management; they'll come to you.
Okay.
You want to get good over here, and then go. You get your opportunities if you're killing it. Someone will see you here. Recommend you, or you could go to LA, just climb that ladder, and then you get those big showcases where people are already over there. They'll see you and they like you because, that's the easiest way to do. It's hard to sell yourself unless you've already gone viral. You can't just be like, here's my 8-minute set, let me sign with you, ICM. Like what the fuck? I don't even, what is this?
Yeah.
So the best way to get signed is be really good, get booked in LA, and then do a couple industry shows here and there, and hopefully somebody's there to watch you. If you're good enough, they'll only have to see you once.
So is there a certain cap of how far you can go here in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and you have to go, basically, if you want to make it, you have to go to LA or New York?
Well, LA and New York are places, there's actually a lower cap on getting good in LA and New York than there is in the Bay Area. Step one is getting extremely good. So when you go to LA and New York and you're on a show with 10 comics, you got to bury them in front of these people, right?
Yeah.
So Bay Area is the way to get really good. But the cap is endless. I'm in the Bay Area majority of the time. I just do my showcase in LA. If you nail those, you get your representation, you get your deals. And after that, it doesn't matter where you are. Half the comics in LA are not even in LA. The people that move to LA, most of the celebrities I headline clubs nationally, are not in LA more than 5-6 days a month.
Okay.
So, you just have to get good enough to get to LA, do those 2 showcases, and nail it out.
All right, very cool, man. So,
but there's no ceiling,
Okay, no ceiling. That's just you gotta get the exposure in the LA.
Well, yeah, CAA and Gersh isn't watching the show at Cobb's tonight,
Yeah.
But if you're not doing good at the Cobb show tonight, then really, why are you even trying to get to LA?
Fair enough.
So nail your territory and then move on.
All right, cool, man, cool. So. Now, next question is, do you have a highlight or two that you want to share? It's not necessarily the highlight of your career. What's a highlight or two that, when you're sitting around with your friends, you're talking about, dude, you won't believe this just happened.
Yeah, just like a fun story. I remember one time I was headlining. I was closing out the Sunday Punchline show 3 years ago, and I went on stage for 3.5 minutes. I think it was 3.5 minutes at the end. I was supposed to do 8. And then Bo Burr showed up. And I immediately got the light 3.5 minutes into my set, and I couldn't understand what the fuck was going on. I was looking at the light, oh no, I still got time. And then they took the light and just shined it on Bill Burr. I was like, oh shit, all right. Good night, everybody.
So you got.
So I got stomped. I lost my last 3 minutes, but it was fun watching him because he's one of the funniest comics in the world. That was actually kind of a fun highlight. Other than that, man, I think the first time I met Kabir Iglesias, that was a huge highlight. I do a set, an audition for a show, and immediately he just came up to me. No, send a clip. No, let's see you later. Oh, give me your number. here's the date. We're taping for Comedy Central this month. You ready to go?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was just like, dude, here it is. Congratulations. So that was a big highlight too.
And that's refreshing as well too, because you hear so much of the yeah. We'll set something up, something like that in the future. Get a hold of me. But to have him come up to you, so like that's the guy I want. I want him on my show.
Yeah,
we're
cool.
doing this. You get here, and we'll make TV.
Yeah, it's great. After the show, you get to meet all these industry people. You get signed for management, just off that one set. So it's just like. It's just that was that's how you do it. You just gotta get really good where you are, and then when you're ready to be seen, you gotta nail it. That's the easiest way to go, really.
Yeah. So what is he like? What is Fluffy like?
I only spent like 3 evenings with him, but he's the nicest guy in the world. Just really cool to hang out with, and very helpful. Very nice guy. Yeah.
Very cool. Did he give you any great advice?
I think he told me to look in the camera. Because I'm ADD as like shit, so when I'm on stage I'm like moving all around, so it's like just focus on the main camera. And I went up there, and then actually, to be honest, I think I had to re-record my set the next day because I literally was not looking at the camera. I was like hopping up and down the stage. That's funny. That's actually true. So like I did my first set over at Ontario Improv, and there was this main camera and 2 other cameras, and I was like going in between the cameras, so it was like 1, 2, 3. And I was going right, left, just talking to the audience like it was a regular comedy show. Right when I get off stage, they're like, dude, we got to record this shit. We have nothing on you looking anywhere near the camera. It just looks like you're looking dead on the ground. I was like, shit, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting. You do have to change who you're not performing to the crowd necessarily in a show, but you're performing to the camera, but you still got to interact with the crowd.
Well, it's not only so much for the cameras. It's just like you have to like acknowledge that you have to look in the direction so they have your face.
Yeah.
If you're looking down the whole time, it's just like, what the fuck is this?
I feel like this is Kabir Singh's back of his head.
Every other normal person that have done 3 seasons of that show understood what he was talking about, except for me. I was the only idiot literally looking at the gaps of every camera, but that was kind of memorable. That was fun.
He's like, nah, that's a new guy. All right, man. So I actually just have a couple more questions left for you here. Then we'll wrap this up. But when somebody comes and sees Kabir Singh on stage, all right, when they come see you perform your comedy, what do you want them to remember about your set and take away?
Hopefully they'll take away a couple jokes that I gave them that they'll repeat with their friends. That's always a good compliment when they come up and tell their friends the next day. But overall, I just want them to have a really good time and just enjoy themselves. Forget about the problems and just kind of like enjoy themselves for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Because I don't really do edgy material or anything. I just try to make sure everybody's just having a good time. Yeah.
All right. Very cool, man. Very cool. Actually, gonna wrap this up in just about 30 minutes total, so we'll get you to stage in plenty of time.
Man. Thank you.
So, all right, Kabir, it's time for the final question of the show, the title question of the show. Kabir Singh, how do you live uncontained?
I think that, if you love something that you do, you kind of ignore people's opinion. I was very lucky. My parents were actually really for me. Like when I told them I wanted to do stand-up comedy after college, they were super about it.
Okay.
Also, like I was always making my friends laugh during high school and junior high. So I never really had a lot of my friends or peers come up to me and be all like, is this a good idea? Should you be doing other options? So I never really had to, climb that herd.
Okay.
Luckily for me with the parents and friends. But you just, if this is what you love to do, the up and downs they're up and down. It's very difficult. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to stand out in front of 1,000 other people that are doing the same job that are as good as you, if not somewhat better, and have better nights than you. And it's all very difficult to judge on a Monday through Friday. You don't know what your set was yesterday. It's just when they see you. But yeah, you just gotta really love it. You gotta be good at it though, because there's a lot of comics out there that, they've done nothing for like 5-6 years and they still just love doing it, but they're also neglecting a lot of, like, I don't want to name names, but I've had comics that, have families and stuff that are, been doing comedy for like 4 or 5 years that'll open for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they'll be neglecting them, and still they, like, in their head, they think they're, but they're not improving. They're like the same person 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's tough to be like, dude, you should probably just do this as a hobby and take care of your shit. So there's two ways to like approach that. But at the end of the day, like you have to be real with yourself. If you're doing stand up year one, tape your set, see how well you do. Take a look at it 2, 3. Are you improving? Are you getting more work? Or are you still on the same level as year one?
Yeah.
Now you're on year 6. Are you still on the level of year 2? I mean, to really judge a good comedian or a good career, like you got to look at it and be like, if when I was on year 2 of stand-up comedy, I was already winning competitions that comedians were winning 4 or 5 years into.
Okay.
So, like you want to be like, I'm in year 2, but I'm doing shit people are doing in year 4 and 5. But if you're in year 5 and 6, and you're still doing shit that people are doing in year 1 or 2, 2, 3, 4, then you just gotta take the signs and just be like, all right, well, I have to do other shit, but keep it as a hobby,
Yeah.
Especially if you have other people depending on you, like as a job, like if you're 22, you don't give a fuck for 5 years, do whatever the fuck you want. But if you got kids and a family, and you're just like, oh, I like this hobby, I killed it 5 times, let's take this for 3 years.
Let's go pro.
And you're doing the same shit for 3 years. And, people are still treating you like you're a 1 year comic.
Yeah.
You got to be smart about it like any other business, man. If you're in like a stock industry and you're losing every stock, you kill it for year 1 or 2, right? And you blow it for 4 years after that. You're like, well, maybe those year 1 and 2 was a fluke. Maybe it's time.
Yes, definitely.
To sell insurance.
Definitely. You probably won't keep your clients very long that way.
You gotta look at it like, is it a hobby or a business?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. And it's good to hear that your parents supported you, because one of your jokes, you're like talking about my parents always loved Halloween because that was the one day that they could say that I was a doctor. But it's good to hear. It's good to hear that they were actually supportive of your choice to go after stand-up comedy and this career.
They were cool because they saw the results. They saw me 8 times in a row. This guy's fucking murdering it. This is the only thing he's good at. We've seen his grades. The guy can't spell science. Let's let him do what he's good at.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I sucked, they would have told me like, "What the fuck? You get out the stage." Have fun on the weekends. Go back to college. But it just depends your level and how much you want to take this serious. Sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, just the last 4 or 5 years of just touring nonstop, and I missed some of my best friends' weddings. I've missed everything. I missed a lot of shit. So you gotta even family events. I mean, you can't if you're booked March 22nd.
Yeah.
And it's a family reunion on March 21st. You can't go March 21st. And it happens repeatedly throughout the year. And it's weird how dates like that also show up. Like, it's like, you have like 8 like important shows on a month, and it's just like,
and they're all
here's your cousin's wedding, here's your sister's wedding, and here's your dad's birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, what the fuck?
Like,
what about Tuesday?
Yeah. I'll tell you a joke. I'll tell you a joke on stage, but I'm just thinking of you.
Yeah. A lot of sacrifices, but a lot of fun.
Right on, man. Well, dude, I've really had a good time talking to you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your night to sit here and have a conversation with me and my audience. And I have one final thing for you to do, Kabir.
Oh, yes, of course.
Will you do me the honor of signing off the show tonight?
Well, I had a great time with you. I want to thank everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Happy holidays for everybody. Hope everybody had a great Christmas and Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this is a great podcast, and everything's great, man. I really appreciate you having me. I'm comedian Kabir Singh. I'll hopefully be at a town near you. And that's it, man. My name is Kabir Singh, and I live uncontained, baby. That's the only way to live.
Thank you for listening, and thank you once again to Kabir Singh for joining me and meeting up with me before he went on stage at Cobb's Comedy Club. And thank you to Cobb's for letting me set up and record my interview there on location. And it's always fun when I can do interviews in person. But I'm excited for early 2019. I got some great shows coming your way. And that's all lined up. If you want to support the show, please, I invite you to. You like that little cheesy invite? Yeah, it's sincere though. You can support me on Patreon or through my website and the Amazon banner at the top of the page. Got some cool stuff coming your way this year. Thank you once again for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.